thank you so much for joining me back here. Today we're going to do another dedicated reading vlog. This is one I'm really excited about. Today we're going to be reading Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. Rebecca Yarros. I don't think I need to explain any further. Good luck getting your hands on a copy if you're currently searching for it. I don't know a whole lot going into this, and I like it that way. I know it's enemies to lovers. I know it has dragons. I know it's fantasy. I've heard it explained kind of like the Hunger Games. I did read the first 2 chapters, and I'm liking it so far. I know the main characters' names, so I know the 2 like romantic interests in this book. And in the second chapter, we do meet him, and I'm kind of like itching to see more of it because I've heard that the enemies to lovers in this is pretty good. But other than that, I don't really know a whole lot about it. I do plan to talk kind of openly in this vlog. I'll try not to give like super big spoilers, like super main plot points. So I'll at least warn you, I guess, if I'm going to spoil something big. Otherwise, if you're like me and you don't want to know anything about it, don't watch this yet. Come back and watch it after you've read it. Because I don't like knowing anything about a book before I go into it. And I am going to express my thoughts and stuff as I read along. In chapter 1, is it chapter 1? I think it is. What's her name? Violet is getting ready to, go and do her first task or whatever, her first trial, whatever, to get across the parapet. And she meets Dylan, and is it Rhiannon? Is that her name? And Dylan makes the comment, he's like, I'm not dying. And as soon as he said that, I was like, my man's is gonna die. Like, he should have never said that. He just spoke it into existence. And sure enough, he dies. So that's how things are going so far. We're already off to a brutal start. I'm excited though. I'm excited. I've been a little nervous to read this because I don't want the hype to overshadow it. But I've been told that it lives up to the hype by pretty much everyone. So here we go. We're reading Fourth Wing. Hey friends, I'm on chapter 3. I just met Dane. Reading like the first paragraph about him where she's describing him and she's all like wistful and like, man, this guy's not a boy anymore. He's turning into a man. Like, I liked him. I don't know though. There's a gut part of me that's like, this guy is not what he seems. He's gonna betray her. Something bad is gonna happen concerning Dane. I feel it in my gut. Two things I'll say right now. One, the writing style is taking me a little bit to get used to. She writes in very lengthy sentences, and it's just like, they're grammatically correct, but they're just too long for my brain to process sometimes, especially since I've been reading later at night. I'm finding myself rereading things. So that's one thing I noted that is like, I'm noticing, and it's irking me just a little bit. 2, I am just distrustful right now. I don't trust Dane. There's a small part of me that doesn't trust Rhiannon. I'm skeptical. I'm in chapter 5, and they are in one of their lessons called Battle Brief. They're in their first battle brief. And I don't think this is going to be a prediction for this book. I might be wrong, but I don't think it's going to be a prediction for this book. But the professor has just said it's very rare that writers are called, how did she put it? Writers have seldom been called into service before graduation. So in other words, that's going to happen either in this book or maybe the next one. I know the next one's already announced for November, maybe? I don't know. Sometime in the fall, it's been announced already. So that's my guess. That's my guess. She's not going to graduate. She's going to be called to war before she gets to graduate. And if it's not in this book, it's going to happen eventually. This stupid book right here. I've been telling myself, like, I'm going to go to bed early at night. I'm going to get some sleep. I'm going to catch up on my sleep. Not been happening because of this stupid book. I made it to page 114 last night. Last night, I was like, I'm only going to read a chapter because I was tired. My husband just got home from a work trip that was like a month long, so he was tired. So I was like, I'm only going to read a chapter and then I'm going to go to bed. So I was like in the middle of my chapter and he's like, okay, well, I'm going to go to bed. I was like, okay, I'm going to finish the chapter and then I'm going to go to sleep too. I ended up reading like 4 or 5 chapters. pages last night. Ugh. I'm on chapter 10 now. I'm glad my husband went to bed before me because I read the scene last night where Xaden and Violet are like in the sparring ring together. Her opponent is, not able to compete. And so he steps up and is like, I will spar with her today. I was grinning like a fool the whole time. I am loving this so far. I'm loving it so far. Expectations met so far. There's still a lot to go. Like, they're only, I think, 2 weeks away from the threshing right now. And there's still like 400 pages to go. So I'm like, I kind of expected this first book to just be them in the academy or whatever it is, the school. I don't know. I don't remember. The Bagsgath, whatever. Now I'm thinking like, these kids are going to go to war. That's what I'm thinking right now. And maybe, I don't think this is a big spoiler, Violet's going to end up with the Black Dragon. That's my assumption, prediction, all those words. She's going to end up with a big black dragon that's only had one master and that never offers himself for bonding. It's going to be hers. Calling it right now. That's about all I have right now to say. I'm loving Xaden. Dane is getting on my daggone nerves. My last nerve. This right here. He's stepping on this. Like, his love for Violet is admirable. The way that he expresses it is not. He's aggravating me. If he wants her to survive so bad, he should not be shoving her towards doing something she's already told him that she doesn't want to do. He should just be helping her prepare to survive where she's at, in my opinion. And I think my opinion is the right opinion. So there we go. That's where I'm at right now. Chapter 10 is tonight. I'm so excited for bedtime to come so I can read this daggone book. Hey friends, I have some updates for you. I am almost halfway. 239, chapter 20. I'm about to start chapter 20 tonight. My thoughts. How can I say this without like giving away huge spoilers or anything like that? I read the threshing, the like choosing ceremony for bonding a dragon, and I planned on only reading one chapter that night, but the threshing spans like 4 or 5 chapters, so needless to say I stayed up and read all of them. I'm happy with the outcome. I did not see that outcome, but I am actually thoroughly enjoyed with it. I really want her to kill Jack. I just read last night, maybe a little bit of a spoiler warning, nothing too big. I just read last night where her room gets broken into and Xaden comes to the rescue. And I am really hoping that we're going to start picking up on that. I like that the romance is not taking like control of everything, but I would like a little bit more. Just a little bit. So that's where I stand on him. Dane, I want to punch in his freaking face. I cannot stand this man. I liked him at first, and I think he's the type of character that if Violet was not who she was, if she was more of a submissive, like plain Jane type of character, I feel like I could like Dane. Not in the story, though. Every time he opens his mouth, I want to shove something into it to make him stop talking. Violet just told him all of this too. Not in this way, but she basically told him like, screw off. I don't want to hear anything you have to say anymore. And I was so happy about it. I was like, yes, finally, get this man out of your life. Get this negativity away from you. He's doing nothing but bringing you down and just sowing doubt into your mind. I know we're not finished with him. I know something else is going to come with him. But for right now, I'm so happy that she kind of put him in his place a little bit. Yeah, I'm loving it so far. I really like just everything. I really like the dragon lore concept, whatever you want to call it. I like the way that the dragons are portrayed in this book. They're intelligent, but they're quirky. I like Taryn. Is that how you say his name? I looked it up and I think it was Taryn. Some of these names in this book are like, I'm enjoying it. I'm liking it. So far, it's living up to the hype. So far. Hey Hey friends, it has been a little bit since I updated you. I think I last updated you on the threshing, like the bonding of the riders and the dragons, and I'm still trying to keep this fairly spoiler free, so I'm not going to go into that in depth. This has definitely been a slow burn romantic fantasy. I am almost done, I think. I'm on page 389, chapter 31. I'm right here. You can see my closet. I'm right here. So I don't have much left. There's like 5 something in this book, I think. Yeah, like 515, 516, something like that. Pages left, or pages in this book. So I am pretty close to finishing. I hope to finish in the next couple of days because I have some other stuff I want to read this month too. So I am close to getting done, but it has been a slow romance. It's definitely slower. I don't think we really got into the romance until page like 300-ish, around 300. Out of 500. So over halfway through the book is when the romance really starts to pick up, which is fine. I'm glad that the romance is not like taking over the story, because the story itself is interesting. Just the lore of this world, the military school in general, how the dragons work. They kind of are their own thing, like their own society. Like the people kind of answer to the dragons don't answer to the people. So I like that. I think that's interesting. Just the whole lore around the dragons are interesting. I'm excited. Whew, I can't get my words together. I'm excited to get more into the like war politics of what's going on. I would say this is on the higher end of fantasy. It's not super high. I'm not like having to reread whole chapters to understand what's going on, but there are a lot of mentions of like the different areas, the different places in the world. There was a rebellion in this story that has kind of led up to the events that are currently happening. So there's a lot of like mentions back to that rebellion. And so there is a map in the book that is super helpful to refer back to. The one of the continent is very helpful to keep referring back to as I'm reading through, because she is referring back to the different areas and stuff so much. And I have a feeling that if not by the end of this one, then at least in the next one, we will be moving around the continent, that she will not stay in this military school. That's my prediction. She's supposed to be in the quadrant for 3 years before she graduates and goes on to be a writer. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think she's going to get her 3 years. There's a bunch of different moving pieces in this as to why I think that. And again, I'm not going to give huge spoilers, but I just don't see it happening for multiple reasons. I think she's going to be forced onto the front lines before she even graduates. She has just now gotten her power. I just read it last night that she got her power, and I am so excited to see how this affects her, because it's kind of like a pivotal moment in her character arc. I think she is definitely a changing character. She's not a static character. She's a dynamic character that is changing from who she first was when we saw her in the first scene to who she is now. She's not the same in exciting ways. I'm excited to see where she ends up. So yeah, so far so good. I've gotten used to the writing style. I'm just loving it. I'm loving it. I hope to finish in the next couple days. My husband is out of town with my son. They went on like a father-son trip. So that's it. I'm enjoying it. Like the writing style, like the characters, like the romance. Dana's chilled out a little bit, which I'm thankful for, because he was really starting to annoy me. I like the lore. So far, so good. I think it's living up to the hype so far. I think it'll really depend on the ending. I haven't really been doing a lot of these like in the moment updates. I usually do those during reading vlogs. And I've just been reading this when my husband's home and he's asleep. He's not home right now. It is 12:37 at night. It is past midnight. And I feel wide awake right now. I just finished chapter 32. Spoiler warning coming up. I'm going to give you a couple seconds. All right. Thoughts. Just finished the chapter of like their July celebration. July 1st, whatever it is. The day that the rebellion ended, and that all the rebels were killed. Zayn's super upset. His dad died. You know, it's the anniversary of his dad's death. I'm glad that they're finally together. I'm not glad that Violet has told him, like, however many times, 3 or 4 times, 2 or 3 times at this point, that she loves him, and he has not said it back. That is making me anxious, making me nervous. I feel like it's going to come back to bite them. And I also just finished where they're, like, having their moment. And Garrett, is that his name? And Garrett comes beating on the door, and he's like, we're under attack. I want to keep reading, but I'm not going to, because it is 1 a.m. I have responsibilities tomorrow. Hey friends, I am on page 437. I have less than 100 pages left. And I am trying to finish because there's less than 500 pages. It is 9:42. So I'm going to try to finish tonight. I am... Maybe a bit of a spoiler warning coming. Okay. I'm at the part where they are doing the war games or whatever. And Xaden and Violet, like, snuck away to have a moment or whatever. And some random woman has just walked up to them. I am not shocked by this. But I still feel my gut sink at the same time. Xaden is behind something. I've kind of felt this throughout the whole book. That he's trustworthy for Violet. Maybe not for their empire or whatever it's called. I think he's planning something behind her back. And, I freaking hate Dane. Oh, I knew it. I called it. I won't say what it is. I texted Ann, and I was like, this just happened. I think this is what just happened. She's like, yeah, I thought that too. Well, I guess here we are, both correct. I know we're, like, supposed to be invested in the romance of the characters and blah, blah, blah. I'm invested in the romance of these dragons. I don't even know how to say her name. Xaden's dragon. Just save Taryn. And I'm for it. I am dead inside. I hate this. I'm broken. No! I don't know if this is the last chapter. We're getting a Xaden chapter. If you've been on my channel, I love when we get the male protagonist point of view. It is one of my favorite things in reading, especially in reading romance. I just like male protagonists for some reason, but we get one. I'm so excited to read this chapter. Okay. I just finished. Okay. Okay. All right. I'm blown away. I'm so tired. I'm blown away by this ending. Just like the last 3 lines. I'm so ready for the next book. When is it? November? Do we have to wait until November? I'm not crying. Am I crying? I don't cry over books. I'm just tired. I will... Okay. I will come back tomorrow with my final thoughts. Okay, friends. Let's talk a little bit. Let's talk. I'm still going to keep this relatively spoiler-free. But let's talk. First of all, the ending absolutely lived up to the hype. I need the next one now. I've already pre-ordered it. I'm ready. It is so good. It was so good. I did not see the ending coming. That's all I'll say. I don't want to give it away, but I did not see it coming. A lot of the other things in here were kind of predictable. Again, I'm going to keep it spoiler-free, but most of the major plot points in here I feel like were not that hard to guess, but I still had fun reading it, so I don't really care that much. It doesn't bother me that, like, I knew what was going to happen almost, because I didn't really know how it would happen. I knew what would happen. I didn't know how we would get there, if that makes sense. So I didn't mind it so much. I actually really enjoyed it. This is definitely one of my favorite books of the year so far. I'm so excited to read the next one. This one is definitely fantasy heavy. It is not a romance with fantasy. It is a fantasy with romance. The majority of this book is based on the fantasy aspect of it. So maybe go into that with those expectations, because I heard a lot about this as like, I heard a lot about the romantic side of this, and so I expected it to be a little bit more romance heavy than it is. I don't care. I like fantasy itself. I can read fantasy without any romance, but I did expect more romance. My books are falling. So maybe have that expectation if you plan to read this yourself. I'm talking like, this is right at 500 pages, and we didn't really get into the romance until over 300 pages. So set that expectation. Slow burn romance, kind of the dark, grim, should be bad guy is the love interest. And we have our main female protagonist who is forced into this role. Our main female protagonist is named Violet. She was originally supposed to be a scribe in what's called the Scribe's Quadrant, which is just part of their kingdom, empire, whatever. But her whole family have been writers. They have been dragon writers. And so when it comes time for her to enter one of the quadrants, her mom forces her into the writer's quadrant, which is supposed to be one of the most dangerous ones. They have the most deaths just within the school before they even graduate. And so everyone kind of expects her to die, as morbid of that as that is. You know, obviously she doesn't, but I liked how strong she was. I liked how determined she was. I liked how she didn't really take crap from anyone. She's very resourceful, very intelligent. I like how blunt she is and kind of quick to give people her peace of mind. I kind of consider myself to be that way, so I like that. Overall, I really enjoyed this. The only thing that's holding me back, it's not even holding me back, but the one thing that like drew me out a little bit is the writing style. I did find some of the sentences in the writing to be a little lengthy, grammatically correct, but when you're reading it, it just kind of slows down the pacing a little bit. But otherwise, I thought it was fantastic. It's not enough to make me not recommend this book. Definitely not. I still highly recommend it. I still think it's worth the hype. I do. I think it's worth the hype. It's gotten a lot of hype to the point where it's sold out everywhere. It blows my mind. It's been I don't know that I can recall this ever happening with a book since I've been on BookTube, and I've been here for like 5 years. But very, very, very much hyped, but I think it's worth it. I had a great time. And the dedication, I support and just love Rebecca Yarros even more because of her dedication at the end, her acknowledgments. She starts out by saying, "First and foremost, thank you to my Heavenly Father for blessing me beyond my wildest dreams." As a Christian myself, I thought that was absolutely awesome. I never see that in books, especially not fantasy books, and especially not books that do this well. So I'm so glad, and I feel, I don't know, I just support her so much more, just knowing that she took that stand and put that in her book, even though it's not usually the popular thing to do. I love that. I love that. Overall thoughts. I like Violet. Liam is my favorite. I love Xaden. I'm excited to see more of Xaden in the next book, though, because we got some of him. I don't feel like we got enough of him in this book. Definitely not enough for him to like replace some of my all-time favorite book crushes, you know. Maybe in the next one when we get more of him. I'm so excited to see where the next one starts out and what happens. I absolutely hate Dane. Yeah. If you know, you know. So overall, so good. And that's pretty much it. I have a lot of thoughts, but I don't want to say them and be spoilerish. So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, be sure to subscribe down below and leave a comment. Let me know if you prefer these types of vlogs, if you prefer like spoiler-free vlogs, or if you want me to dish it all out. Because I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. I'm just trying to make it accessible if people don't want spoilers. So I still included some spoilers, but I did do spoiler warning. So let me know what you like, what you prefer, so I know going forward. You guys are awesome, and I'm so thankful for you and so blessed to have you here on my channel. And we'll be back here next time. See you.